My name is Alyssa Calderón. I am an artistic director for NIU's Ballet Folklórico Aztlán. So what inspired me to start NIU's Folklórico team was I really missed dancing. I did it majority of my life. It's been something that's been heavily rooted into everything that I do and every journey that I take with me. Like I do Folklórico and incorporate it as much as I can. I really missed it, and it was something that was hard to step away from going to college. So I wanted to be a director of my own, create my own dance style, and just bring it to, my NIU community. Growing up, I wasn't as connected as my roots as I am now. What brought me closer with my culture was just joining Folklórico, and everything about Folklórico is about our traditions back in Mexico and all of our dance styles and so many stories that are told within our dances. So it really brought me closer to who we are as people and just what it's like to be in Mexico, even though we're here in the States. The style that resonates with me the most, so the way Folklórico works is not necessarily that there's so many styles, it's more just like regions. Style could be like, danza azteca, which is a little bit more like, pre-colonial times. But I think the one that resonates with me the most as far as states is Jalisco. That is where my family is from in Mexico. And it holds a big place in my heart. The dresses are very vibrant, beautiful. The dance style is very creative. You could do a lot with all the footwork. It's home for me. And mariachi music is something that I listen to even outside of the studio. So I think that resonates with me the most. I do remember my first live performance. I was, I believe, in second grade. It was a Mardi Gras performance, but it was to kick off Lent because I went to a Catholic school that had a Folklórico program that was ran by one of the teachers. The main thing I remember, which is just a key thing in general, was getting ready. It was just such a wake-up call, like going into the room, meeting up at the church. Never have putting on makeup in my life, and I'm 6, 7 years old. I just remember getting there and all the older girls are giving me earrings and getting me dressed, putting my hair up, putting lipstick on me. The main thing that I remember from that performance was realizing how much I really wasn't that nervous and just being able to put on the show with my other classmates. It was just a really good time. But the biggest thing, which I feel like till this day, was the process of getting ready. It's a big part of the whole performance, is just the way we look, the way we present ourselves. My first performance was something that meant a lot to me because a lot of my family came out for it, and it made me realize how important this was to my family. I was still trying to get connected to my culture. I was very young, still understanding everything. So the biggest thing for me at that time was just putting on the show for my family and making them proud, especially my grandma. It was something that she saw me do growing up when we went to Mexico when I was younger and I was 3. They took me to Escaret, which is they have a big show at the end with Folklórico dancers. And when I came back to Chicago, I wrapped a blanket around my waist at 3 years old, pretending to be them. So to my grandma, it was just a big moment for her because it was something that I did as a toddler. And here I am, 6, 7 years old, doing it in front of people wearing the actual dress. It was a big deal. So my goal at the time was just to make them proud and make them happy. I loved making everybody smile and doing it. It was the start of something that I didn't know I'd be so passionate about. I still feel very passionate about just making everyone happy and, being connected with my culture. I think it means a whole different perspective now that I'm so much more rooted with it and I'm the one creating everything. I think that's a big thing, and it's a different type of pride that my grandparents have. It's one thing to perform it, but to be so passionate about it that I'm creating it myself, and just to see not just my family, but Latinos, Mexicans especially, to have that pride. It's just a big thing. Bringing it to my school was a big step for us. We're becoming a Hispanic serving institution, so it's just seeing everybody be so proud. It's not just of me, but to everyone. I thought it was really nice. Name has a lot to do with the history of our culture. Aztlán in general, it has a lot to do with the Chicano culture currently with what we're going through. Aztlán was just such a big thing of making that sense of home for everyone. Aztlán back in the day, during the Aztec time, it was what they considered home before Tenochtitlan, before the Spaniards came in. Like, it was that mythical in-between of home. And now, like, with the Chicano culture, as you could see, like, it became something much bigger. And it was that sense of like, ni de aquí, ni de allá. It's just one of those things where you don't feel at home at either place. You're not accepted here in the States, and at home, like, you're seen as American and better off. So Aztlán during the Chicano culture was that sense of home. It's mythical in some sense, but it had so much stronger meaning, and that's what I loved about it. And making Aztlán was giving everyone who's away from home a home to be at. So moving forward as a director, it has a lot to do with just making sure that we're staying in tune with the history of everything. And then just staying traditional. It's very hard, especially nowadays. Everything's very stylized. Just staying true to like your roots is a big thing. And moving forward as a director, like, it has a lot to do with taking the time to do your research and just putting in all efforts to make the choreographies come to life, make sure the stories are being presented well, just making sure that everything ties in and that the passion is still there. As much as you want to put in history and everything, like, it's all based on our passion. I think that's what brings the art to life. If I was tall enough, my dream performance would be to dance with Alyssa Melendez, but I feel like a big one for me is dancing with someone famous. I feel like in the Mexican culture, if you are recognized for your art and to perform with someone famous, like, we're very prideful of our culture. So, like, for example, like seeing folklorico dancers come out with Canelo for the big fight, like, that's just a big thing. We're very, very prideful. So to be able to do something like that, I have friends who perform with Los Tigres del Norte and everything, and I feel like that's just a big thing, to be recognized for your art by celebrities because of how prideful and how we're able to do that. So I think that's a big performance for me, is to do something with someone famous, a dream stage, something close to home. Like, auditorium theater is beautiful, and I think that's a stage I would like to be on at least some point in my life. Advice I would give to young dancers would be to honestly just stay disciplined. A big thing is being open-minded. A lot of dancers, especially like in the States, instructors, we learn things differently. We come from different parts of Mexico. We do different styles of, folklorico, some stylized, some traditional. So I think the biggest thing is to have an open mind when you're learning dances and go to like many, many workshops, learn from different instructors, be open-minded to that sense. But yeah, I feel like that's my biggest thing, is just be open-minded, stay disciplined, be humble, and recognize that you can always improve as a dancer, and there's so much more to explore when it comes to dancing folklorico.
My favorite part about doing this is just making everybody proud. Our culture is something that we hold really close to each other, or at least within ourselves, within our families. So I feel like it's just something that I really enjoy feeling. The feeling of performing is just like no other. It's just, you feel the immense amount of pride in the room when they see folklorico or mariachi or anything. So I think that's my favorite part, is just like performing and feeling like that intensity. And also just like the creative aspect of it. The more research I do, the more I choreograph and like make these stories come to life. It feels a lot more real, and I just feel like I get closer and a lot more knowledgeable with every dance that I create, and getting inspiration from others and networking especially. Like, I think that's just so awesome, and learning all different stories. I think like the biggest thing is probably seeing my dancers fall in love with it the same way I do. Seeing their Instagrams be filled with, folklorico pages, and seeing their reposts on TikTok of like just dance, and to know that that wasn't who they were beforehand. Like, it's just something so beautiful, and it pushes me to keep going. A life lesson that I learned is that, your passion is your passion, and it's something that not everyone may understand or may be able to connect with, and that's okay. But those who do, they're going to appreciate your art regardless, and see all the work that you've done and how much it means to you. And I feel like that's the biggest thing. It's brought me closer to people. The more that they see the work that you put in and how much passion and work that goes into it, the more that they can appreciate it. And when you have a complete product, people love it way more. And that's where you really see your support system. And I think that's like the biggest lesson, was just understanding where my support system is at, and knowing where to just share my passion and where it's more just like, let me keep this to myself. I don't know. I feel like my passion is something to be shared because it is my culture, but not everybody understands it, and that's okay. Advice I would give to my younger self is to connect a little bit sooner to my culture, be a lot more open-minded. Honestly, just to keep pushing and going. I feel like myself, I've always been very driven of, I'm going to get what I want if I want it. And when it came to dance, it was, if that's how the step is going to be, I'm going to make sure I do exactly that. So that's something I'm still kind of am today. And I would just tell her, like, keep going. Like, that's a very good quality to have. It's just something that as a dancer, you stay very disciplined, very humble, continue to do what you're doing, and be so open-minded to growing in different ways. Okay, where I see myself in the next 5 years. As a dream, I would love to be somewhere where folklorico is way more appreciated. The creativity is a lot more like just out there. You know, California, Texas, like folklorico is big. There's competition. There's very famous companies. Chicago, we're starting to grow, but I feel like other states have so much more opportunities that I think I want to do something bigger with myself and to perform professionally. I feel like, you know, growing up, my company, you know, we did stuff very local, and to make my own group, like, it's finding those performances, finding those people that can connect us to do like different performances in different places and everything like that. It can only be so professional, but I would love to be taught again by more professionals and, you know, master instructors. And just to be able to take it to like bigger stages. That's mainly what I want. And praying that my group just grows bigger, and especially after I leave, handing off to someone else, like that's handing my baby off. So just being able to be supportive for them while also growing as a dancer myself. Like I said earlier, like there's so much to grow as a dancer. I'm only 22 years old, and there's just so much more to life. So for the next 5 years, I would probably say just hopefully going pro.